Hi, thank you for joining me for this video today. If this is your first time here, I'm TJ, and in today's video I am going to be covering something that I have been waiting so long to get my hands on, and now it's here. I am going to share it with you guys. If you've been with me for a while, you've probably seen me using this device right here, which is the Mini Hifu. This has definitely been one of my favourite devices over the last 15 months. I've done so many videos using it. I still use it regularly. It runs on Hifu, which is high intensity focused ultrasound, and it also has radio frequency included. The Hifu takes care of the smash layer, which is the layer of fibrous muscle and tissue that acts as the scaffolding that your skin attaches to, and the radio frequency takes care of the upper layers of the skin, helping to tighten everything up, boost that collagen production, and just give you more of a plump look and a glow. So this has played a huge role in my skincare routine. But as with everything in the world of beauty devices, things get upgraded, they get improved, and new models come out, which is exactly what I have today. In this box right here, I have the second generation Mini Hifu, or the Mini Hifu 2.0. And it looks like an absolute beauty. As you can see with this one, there is a display screen on there. You've got multiple options. It looks more aesthetically pleasing. But more than that, it comes with additional frequency output options, along with an extra treatment option as well. So let's just do a quick side-by-side comparison of what they look like. So a few differences between these two is that with this one, you have to manually push the button to activate the frequency every 4 seconds. With this one, the output is continuous and automatic. This one doesn't have a timer. This one has a 10-minute inbuilt timer, so it automatically shuts off after 10 minutes, so you don't end up over-treating your skin. This one doesn't have EMS, or electrical muscle stimulation. This one does. The original Mini Hifu only goes up to 3 intensity levels. The second generation Mini Hifu goes up to 5 intensity levels. Basically, this one was amazing until this one came along. This one is still amazing, but this one is just next level. So now let's take a quick look at the specs of the second generation Mini Hifu. This device has Hifu, bipolar radio frequency, EMS, and LED light therapy. Now, the LED light therapy isn't a standalone treatment. You'll get a different set of LED lights with each treatment you do. So the first treatment option that comes up on this device is Hifu, and this is 3 MHz Hifu that covers an area of 4 centimeters square when placed on the skin, reaching levels of between 3 millimeters and 4.5 millimeters. 3 millimeters is still very much in the dermis, 4.5 millimeters is where your smash layer is. When you're using the Hifu mode, you get the blue LED lights come on. The LED lights are 650 nm and have a brightness level of 5000 microcandelas. And as I mentioned, when you're using the Hifu treatment, you don't need to continuously keep pushing the button every 4 seconds. The frequency stays active for the entire time that you're doing the treatment. Next up, we have bipolar radio frequency, running on a 2 MHz frequency. Now, on the Hifu head, you have the central metal plate. This is the Hifu plate. At each side, you have a crescent plate. Each of these plates are the radio frequency. But the difference with this one compared to the original Mini Hifu is that the central plate on the original Mini Hifu was Hifu only. On the second generation Mini Hifu, the central plate is also a radio frequency plate when used on the radio frequency standalone treatment option, which means that all 3 of these plates are outputting radio frequency into the skin at the level that you're selecting, going to a maximum depth of 3 millimeters. The higher the intensity you select on the radio frequency settings, the faster the heat buildup will be in the skin and the quicker you'll need to move it. The LED light that comes on with the radio frequency setting is the red light, again running at 650 nanometers, an energy output of 4 joules per centimeter square, and a brightness of 5000 microcandelas. The final treatment option you have on the second generation Mini Hifu is the EMS, or electrical muscle stimulation mode, which helps to give your muscles a really good workout, giving them more strength and tone, enabling them to lift everything back up into position, hold it in place, and give you more natural volume without needing to resort to fillers. The EMS frequency on this is 500 microamps per hour. It produces a purple LED light and covers an area of 4 square centimeters when placed in contact with the skin. EMS is not microcurrent. Microcurrent is not EMS. EMS stimulates the nerves, which in turn causes the muscles to contract and really works them out, so they'll be contracting up and down. While microcurrent is very topical and it runs through the surface of the skin, EMS breaks down ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, while microcurrent boosts the levels of ATP. So if you do microcurrent as part of your skincare routine, make sure that you don't do it before using EMS, because any ATP that microcurrent has created is going to be broken down by this. Now, I personally use microcurrent on the same day as EMS, just so that I can replenish those ATP levels, but not everyone is the same. It all depends on your current skin conditions, the laxity, your muscle tone, and just how acclimatized your skin is to these kind of treatments. On the original Mini Hifu, it has pretty much all of the same kind of specs. Obviously, it doesn't have the EMS, but the Hifu output is only 2 MHz on the original Hifu, whereas obviously it's 3 MHz on the second generation Mini Hifu. So when it comes to using Hifu, radio frequency and EMS, there are certain areas on your face and your body that you should avoid. When it comes to the face, you definitely want to avoid the area under the eyelid, on the upper eyelid area, and too close to the side of the eye. The reason for this is that the frequencies can penetrate up to 4.5 millimeters deep. Now, on average, the skin on the eyelids and the under eye area is only 2 to 3 millimeters deep, which means that the frequency is going to be penetrating straight through to that and into your eye. You also want to avoid using any kind of frequency over the thyroid or over the larynx, the voice box, where the Adam's apple is, basically down the center line of the neck. Now, the reason for this is that your thyroid produces a lot of the hormones that regulate your body's system. So the center of the neck is a no-go area. The second generation Mini Hifu is designed for use on the body as well, which means that you may come in contact with mucosal areas. Now, the mucosal areas are super sensitive, they're delicate, they are not the same as the skin that you have on your arms, on your chest, on your face, your neck. We're talking about intimate areas here. But yeah, mucosa isn't the same as skin. It doesn't respond the same way in skin. It doesn't have the same collagen as skin. This is going to be ineffective on it. It could cause damage to it. It could cause pain. So if the idea has crossed in your head to give yourself a little bit of downstairs treatment, really don't. That was awkward. Now, the more popular a device comes, the more likely the market is to be flooded with fakes. A lot of people found themselves getting scammed with the original Mini Hifu. Unfortunately, in the world that we live in, everyone is after a fast buck. A lot of manufacturers just really don't care. All they want to do is get those dollars into their bank accounts. And they're quite happy to sell fake machines that don't have the frequencies that they claim to have and could be potentially dangerous. But luckily for you, I'm going to show you how you can test whether your Hifu and radio frequency is genuine. So the first thing you want to do is you want to plug in your Mini Hifu. These don't operate on a battery. These have to be powered by the mains electricity to work. And then before you turn it on, take your conductive gel, add a little bit just over the center of the Hifu plate. So it's just this central plate here with a little circle in it. Take the lid of the device and put some water in it. Then what you do is you place the lid onto the center, turn the device on, and you should notice that the water is jumping immediately. There you go. So that's how you test that the Hifu frequency is genuine on the device. Next is time to check the radio frequency signal. Now this is really simple. Again, plug it in, turn your device on, move it over onto radio frequency, turn the power level up to 5, and you leave it for 30 seconds. You don't apply any conductive gel, nothing like that. Just leave it to run for 30 seconds. After the 30 seconds is over, turn it off, touch it to the top of your hand. It should feel barely warm and not hot to touch. If it feels hot to touch, then it's not radio frequency you have, it's electrical heating, which works much in the same way as an iron. And basically the electrical heating is used to mimic the effect of radio frequency in fake devices to give you the impression of heating. The heat generated by radio frequency is created when the frequency passes through the cells in the skin. What it does is as that frequency passes through, it causes all of those cells to start vibrating and moving and banging together. This creates friction. That friction builds in intensity. It gets up to those temperatures that denature collagen. And then what happens is the body then floods the area with fibroblasts. These fibroblasts lay down type 3 collagen, which is a pre-collagen. And then over a period of around about 6 to 8 weeks, that type 3 collagen starts to be replaced with type 1 collagen, which is what gives your skin strength and bounce. So when it comes to the Hifu radio frequency EMS device, it's important to remember that each of the frequencies works in a different way and on different layers of the skin, each working hard to create lifting, toning and revolumizing. Now, in theory, you could use all three modalities in a single 30-minute treatment, but it's best to separate them into individual treatments on different days. As a general beginner's guide, you can use the Hifu frequency and the radio frequency once a week for 6 weeks, then once every 4 weeks until you get to the kind of results that you're after, which moves you into maintenance mode of a treatment every 8 weeks. For EMS, once a week is more than enough. Some people like to do twice a week. If, like me, you're a guy and you've got larger facial muscles that need to be toned and taken care of, then twice a week is probably going to be more suitable. But obviously that's just a routine that's really worked for me. It's really helped my skin to tighten up, to become revolumized and much more lifted. But yeah, just as a starting point, if you're just beginning with the combined treatment devices, I would follow doing one Hifu and one RF treatment once a week, which means you're doing 2 treatments in the week using different modalities. Then after 6 weeks, move that on to a once every 4 weeks, which in theory means that you are going to be doing 2 treatments every 4 weeks, because you'll do one Hifu treatment and then 2 weeks after that you'll do a radiofrequency treatment. And then when you're moving on to maintenance, it's once every 8 weeks. So remember, once refers to once for the treatment option on here. So once for the Hifu every 8 weeks, once for the RF every 8 weeks. And if you divide them evenly, then that means you're doing 1 treatment every 4 weeks. Now, admittedly, I don't really use the EMS on combined devices. I have a dedicated EMS device for treating my muscles and my body, which I'll cover in a later video. But the EMS in this is more than sufficient to really get some toning going on. So yeah, that's how often to use the Mini Hifu and radio frequency device and the EMS. Can you use the Mini Hifu and radio frequency over the top of Botox? And the simple answer for that is yes, you can. The thing is that you don't want to do any treatments that are going to apply heat or any kind of frequency to the areas that have been freshly Botoxed. So you want to give it at least 14 days as a minimum. 21 is even better. After this point, the toxin has already paralyzed the muscles. The only way that that wears off is when it's metabolized by the body. So these kind of treatments aren't going to have much of an impact on it. It might decrease the lifespan of the effect that Botox has, but this will be pretty minimal. Now, I also get asked this about fillers. I don't have fillers myself, and while a lot of people say that my face looks frozen, that it doesn't move, it really does move. I've just trained myself not to move my muscles more than I need to. So if I'm surprised, yeah, you know, I can raise my eyebrows. So while you think I have Botox in my face, I really don't. But when it comes to fillers, I did have it in my lips once, really didn't like it, had it dissolved. The thing is that these frequencies can break down filler. So if you've got filler in your cheek, in your jaw, around the lower eye area, really anywhere where you're going to be applying this frequency and heat, the heat is going to cause the filler to break down and be absorbed and metabolized by the body much faster than it would be without. When it comes to Hifu, the Hifu frequency has a blasting effect. It travels through the skin. It's going to be creating shock waves. This is going to cause the filler to break up. It could cause it to shift around slightly under the skin. So really, if you've got a lot of filler freshly put in your face, this is something that you don't want to be using. When it comes to the EMS frequency, if you've got dental implants or you've got metal fillings or metal crowns, they are going to attract the frequency. Your teeth are going to feel like they're vibrating. This is totally normal. To combat this, you can place some rolled up tissue paper or a cotton pad or some gauze right up over your gums and the area where you have metal work. It's going to minimize the sensation of your teeth rattling and the weird metallic taste you get. A question that I get asked quite often is, how do you clean your Mini Hifu device after you finish with it? And it couldn't be easier. You don't need to apply any harsh chemicals, you don't need to apply any alcohols. All you need is a dry towel, the device, you place it into the towel tip, just twist it around and make sure you're using your thumb just to get into all the little nooks and crannies all the way around, and then give the chassis a quick wipe down and place it into its box. And then keep it somewhere dry, out of direct sunlight, and this is going to last you for years. So now I've got all of those important details out of the way, it's time to do a treatment. For this video, what I'm going to do is a Hifu treatment, and then I'm going to do a couple of other videos showing you how to use the radio frequency and the EMS. So obviously, first things first is that you need to wash your skin, make sure it's free from any makeup, from any oil, from any pollution. Really, you just want a really clean blank canvas, so my skin is nice and clean. So once you've got a clean face, take your conductive gel. This is the Age R Booster Gel that I'm going to be using today. It's the only gel that I use now. The amount that I have here is about the size of a grape, and that's more than enough normally to do a full face treatment. Now, if you're a guy and you have facial hair, if you have short stubble, you can treat over the top of it, no problems whatsoever. If you've got really thick hair or a beard, the frequency isn't going to be able to penetrate through, and yeah, it's not going to work. So this really does work best on smooth skin. And if, like me, you have to shave, then it's best to do it the day after you've shaved so that your skin isn't too sensitive and raw before applying any gels or lotions or heat to it. So I'm just going to plug the power into the device, take the lid off. I'm going to turn it on. The first option that comes up is the Hifu. I'm taking the intensity up to level 5 because my skin is so used to it. And then what I'm doing is I'm starting at the chin first and working my way up in a really slow action. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just bringing it from the chin up to the angle of the jaw, and I'm doing slow sweeps with each one. And then the opposite side. Then from the corner of the mouth, and we're going up to the center ear line, really slowly, just sweeping upwards. Just from the outside of the nostril, placing that center line there, and then sweeping this up to the top of the ear cheekbone area. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just locating where the orbital rim is and making sure I'm not going above that. So just beneath my finger, and then sweeping just across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out. 1. So with this, there's no pain at all. You do feel that the skin is getting warmer and warmer as the frequency is passing across, but it's actually a really pleasant sensation. It's not painful in the slightest. So again, I'm locating the orbital rim here, and I'm literally just going to do a really focused treatment here. This is to help give the brow some lift, to lift those lids. What I'm doing is I'm upside down right on the brow bone. Now you feel it a little bit more on here because it's really thin skin and it's running straight onto the bone. And then the other side, again making sure that you're not going beneath that orbital rim and the frequency is angled up. And then what I'm doing is I just finish off at the outer brow area here and just work along the brow bone, just in a really small fast circle movement, just making sure that that Hifu frequency is covering absolutely everywhere where I need to get a little bit of tightening and a lift going on. For the crow's feet, again making sure that you're not going onto the orbital rim. So what I like to do is a thumb at the outer corner of the eye. It's where that thumb ends on the outer part here. That's where you can treat onwards and outwards from there. And in we go. And with this, I'm just moving it up and down just on this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then out a little bit more. 1, 2, 3. Now there are some people that say that they don't treat over the temples. There really is no issue with treating over the temples with Hifu or radio frequency. It's not a direct connection to the brain. You're not going to cause yourself any damage. It's best not to use any kind of EMS frequency over this area. But when it comes to the Hifu and the RF, it's perfectly fine to use it over the temples. And in fact, the Hifu is going to help tighten up that smash layer underneath and kind of give more support and volume. So the final part on the face is the forehead, then I'll just do the neck quickly and then we're going to be done. So just bring your gel onto your forehead. Again, you don't need too much at all. And then all I'm going to do is start in the center line and just pull up slowly, 1, and then back down without lifting it off, 2, and then shift it across, and then again repeat. And then all you're doing is you're following the brow along until you reach the hairline. Okay, so the final part is just the underjaw area and down the sides of the neck. So I'm just going to start with a sweep up, 1, and keep in contact, sliding it back down, 2. This is really going to help to get rid of some of that fat in your buttocks. Going to locate the jawbone and just 1, 2, 3 and slide. 1, 2, 3 and slide. 1, 2, 3 and slide. And then back 1, 2. And then just down the side of the neck. So remember, nothing in the central line here. So hand up and then 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, out. Make sure you bring it around, right round to the sides in line with the shoulder. And then the other side. And that is the treatment done. So I don't need to unwash my face or anything. The gel has already absorbed nicely into my skin. Face is feeling nice and warm and tight. Can definitely feel this one is stronger than the original Mini Hifu. The heat generated deep in the skin is much more noticeable. It builds nice and gradually, and it is just really enjoyable to use. So I think I've pretty much covered everything in this video for today. I am going to do a separate video using the radio frequency only setting on this and for the EMS only setting on this. But if you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below, or head over to my Facebook group or my Instagram where you can contact me directly and ask me there, and I will try my best to answer you. Of course, if you found this video useful, make sure you give it a like, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell, and that way you'll be first to know whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much for joining me for this video today. I hope you have a fantastic day ahead of you, and I really look forward to seeing you in my next video. So till then, TJ over and out.